Today, we are going to talk about football in Africa, some of the challenges, and some of the ways in which you can implement to help improve the beautiful game. In Africa, we have very many people who love football, both players and football fans alike, and that our football fans have really struggled, first of all, due to financial reasons, as well as lack of adequate facilities in the country, and that we've also had both football players and managers going on for months without pay, and that we've had foreign managers coming into our country, and that they can attest that the league is not a bed of roses. And that in today's video, we're going to go through some of the ways in which these top football clubs in the different leagues across the country make their money, and that we're going to see if they're possible to be implemented here in Africa. And that the first way in which they're able to generate their income is through match day sales. And match day sales is just simply the amount of tickets sold in a match day, and that the higher your capacity, the higher the amount of money you're likely to generate on a match day. In the UK, they usually offer value in tickets, food, and drinks. These are usually sold in stadiums, and that they have 19 home discounted prices for a season ticket, and that an average football ticket price goes for around £32, while Arsenal usually charges £97 for a home ticket. And that the biggest question, as we're talking about match day sales, is that how will we be able to generate this money when we don't have stadiums in the country? And that this is an area that I'd like to appeal to the government and well-wishers and different consortiums as well as individuals to really consider investing in football stadiums in Africa. Remember that in 2003, Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea. Then in the 2008, Sheikh Mansour bin Al Nahyan bought Manchester City through the Abu Dhabi. And just recently, just a few days ago, Newcastle United was bought by the Saudi Arabian government's sovereign wealth fund for a staggering fee of £300 million. Now we have individuals that can be able to buy football clubs, maybe even build stadiums on their own. We also have the government that is tasked with the responsibility of building stadiums and improving the kind of living in the countries. And we can also have different companies owning these football clubs. And that is an area that I'd like to urge, that I'd like to appeal to them to really invest on. And that according to Statista, Arsenal collected £100 million for the 2018-2019 season. And we're going to talk, and the second area that we should really consider is sponsorships. The deal with sponsorships is that different companies pay some amount of money to football clubs in order to grow their brands, in order to maybe sell their products and their services, and that those names that you usually see on the front side of the shirt, those are usually the sponsorship companies, and that these sponsorships could be in the form of kit sponsorships, stadium naming rights, shirt sponsorships, sleeve sponsorships, and every kind of sponsorships. In the 2019-2020 season, Man United had 3 sponsorships on home kits: Adidas, Chevrolet, and Kohler. And per season, Adidas was able to generate £75 million, while Chevrolet £64 million, and they got £10 million from Kohler. And that in this age where influencers have become marketable, is that football clubs can act as influencers for these big brands and help them push their brands. But also simply, I'd just like to urge the different companies, both locally and abroad, to consider sponsoring our football clubs, because without money they have really struggled for quite some time. And that the third area that I'm going to talk about is the TV broadcasting deals. So this has become such an important part in generating income for the last few years. And how it works is that the league usually owns the television distribution rights, which in turn sells them to the highest bidder, such as Sky Sports, BT Sport, and ESN. And this as well, they can sell these rights to other advertising companies. So how do clubs make money from this deal? Is that clubs get payments from the league based on the number of views, based on popularity, and that this is an area where different clubs might receive different amounts of money. The higher your performance, maybe the more popular your club is, the higher the higher the amount of money you're likely to receive. And that, according to an online report, Liverpool made £139.1 million from TV, while Norwich made £92.7 million in the 2019-2020 season. And that top broadcasting deals for top European clubs, uh, according to an online report, is that we have in the Premier League, these TV broadcasting deals in England, and the value per season it was 1.66 billion, while in the Ligue 1 in France it's 1.04 billion, in the Bundesliga in Germany 1.03 billion, while in the La Liga in Spain 1.01 billion, and the Serie A in Italy 862 million pounds. Then another fourth area is the prize money, and prize money is just simply based on performance. The top three, I think the top three clubs are the ones that are usually uh, receive this money, but this money depends on the position one has finished in the league. And in competitions such as tournaments, the further you progress, the more the amount of money you're going to make. So prizes for different competitions. And in the UEFA Champions League, the winner usually pockets 34.25 million euros, while the runner-up gets 30.25 million euros. In the UEFA Europa League, the winner gets 11.42 million euros, while the runner-up gets 7.42 million euros. Then in the English Premier League, the first place usually gets 35.5 million euros, while the second place gets 33.8 million pounds. In the La Liga, the first place usually gets 40 million euros, while the second place gets 38 million euros. And you really need to be one of the best in order to be able to win this prize money. The fifth area is the transfer market activity, and in the transfer market activity, I'm going to mention one manager in Arsene Wenger who used to sign players from unknown leagues, sign players who are unfinished products, and polish them and turn them into superstars, play in the league and the club for quite some time, then sell them for a good fee, and in this way he was able to generate income. Just a brief history of the transfer market is that in 2004, Zinedine Zidane moved from Juventus to Real Madrid for a then record £47 million. Then fast forward in 2009, Cristiano Ronaldo moved from Manchester United in England to Real Madrid in Spain for a record fee of £80 million. And in 2017, Neymar Neymar Jr. moved from Barcelona Football Club in Spain to Paris Saint-Germain in France for a staggering fee of £198 million. And this fee only looks like it will keep on increasing as time goes by. And that, according to FIFA, to a report by FIFA, is that according to a report in FIFA in 2019 is that 5.6 to 7.3 million pounds was used on the transfer market alone. yeah, billion, 5.6 to 7.35 billion on the transfer market. So another area is the selling of t-shirts, and that in Africa, I know that we usually love wearing our favorite football club shirts. It's only common when you walk around to see someone with an Arsenal, Manchester United, or Chelsea jersey, and that this is another area that does really can really help your football club to make money. And another area is the merchandise sales. Football clubs usually have their own scarves and stationery, and they can make some decent amount of money by selling them through their shops. Then you have the stadium rentals and tours. So certain stadiums offer various packages for private social events, stadium and museum tours, and even weddings. So if you want a wedding and you're a football fan who really wants to have their wedding in a stadium, we have several high-profile stadiums that offer these services, and these are the San Siro, which for both Inter Milan and AC Milan, and in England we have the Etihad Stadium for Manchester City and the Camp Nou for Barcelona in Spain. And these are just some of the ways in which these people are able to utilize their stadiums. And now, moving on to another area is that football academies. We're going to talk about football academies. Football academies play really an important part, as they are able to nurture these players from a young age to till when they become mature and join the main team. Usually, the football academies maybe they can start from the under 7 to the under 23. Then after you reach the under 23, then you can join the main team. So there are lots of football academies in Africa. I thought that it has increased in Africa, and that football academies usually work as a school where you take your young boys and girls, where they are taught soccer, the different tactics, and they are not only taught about football, but they are taught about life skills as well, on education, and de- developing the whole person as well, not just football. And this is an area that has done well, and that will only continue to do well, and that we are calling on different counties to try and have different academies where they will develop players not only in the main cities but also in the villages as well, and in those remote areas. So other key players in the football industry, I'm going to talk about football coaches and referees. And I know that of late, FIFA has really trained so many football coaches and referees in Africa, more than any other time in history, and that these coaches usually get those CAF licenses, and that yeah, these licenses could be C, B, A, and pro level. We also have specialist qualifications, also available at Youth B, Elite with A, Goalkeeper B, Goalkeeper A, and Futsal B levels. And if there is one really big area that has really improved, I think that it is this area. I think that at the moment in Africa we have very many trained FIFA uh, football coaches and referees, and I know of 3 football referees from Africa who have been called upon to go and officiate in a big tournament that is about to come, the World Cup, and that this shows the amount of strides that you have made in that area. And an area that I'd also like it to be given special attention is the football agents. Football agents usually act as a link between players and clubs. They help manage different aspects of the player's career, from negotiating their salaries with clubs and sponsors to handling their PR. And just like FIFA has trained very many football coaches and referees, I also like the football agents to be trained on this, to be educated, to be trained, to get some license so that they can operate from a professional level. Remember that football agents are usually well connected. They usually partner with very many clubs, and that they can help football players get clubs not only locally but abroad as well. And that we really need their services. And another area is also the football scouts. Football scouts usually travel and different parts of the countries to look for talents, football talents, and that we should create a large scouting network so that someone doesn't have to worry in whichever part of the county is in, that we have football scouts everywhere, and that they'll be able to that just they'll be able to find a football talent in whatever location it will be. And they should scout these players when they are young, usually at the primary, secondary, and during those inter-school games. Uh, when players are young, this is the time when they don't have very many responsibilities, and that they can focus on developing their careers as footballers. And yeah, football scouts is another area that I'd like people to be trained on, and I know that it will play a very crucial role in improving football in Africa. Now I'm going to talk about football federations in Africa. The CAF, the CAF represents the National Football Associations of Africa, and its task is usually to run continental, national, and club competitions, offer prize money, regulation, and media rights to those competitions. And that I wanted to say something about football federations is that these houses need to be put in order, and that in the recent past we've had cases of mismanagement of funds, which sometimes can really frustrate players and other stakeholders. And that I would love to see former players maybe running for the post of this, running for this post. I know that many football players they understand the frustration and the pain that maybe other football players go through. And I'm not limiting it to only football players. I know that we also have other good managers that are passionate about the game, that really understand football, and that they can really serve players from these positions. And that in the past, I know of one player who got money out of his pocket to pay for a national team to go and represent their country. And sometimes this can be really frustrating, knowing that your own federation cannot provide funds even for the national team to go and represent their country. And but I know that lately they are really trying, and that we should look at it from both sides. That maybe these federations are working with limited capital, and that they should maybe just find a workable solution and iron out any difference that might exist. And I know that when they really handle their differences, then football in Africa will really grow. And now, just a summary, I'd like to urge people to invest in football stadiums, the government, individuals, and I've mentioned that individuals that are really wealthy, and that they can own football clubs on their own, and the different companies. And I also love that football fans to turn up in huge, to turn up in stadiums to watch their game, to support their local clubs and buy tickets, and that the same way we buy football jerseys of other top clubs in the world, we should also consider buying football jerseys for our local team here in Kenya and in Africa as a whole as well. Let us consider supporting our football clubs, and that these are just but a few ways, there are a few methods that I've just mentioned. I know that they are not just limited to this. I know that there are other ways maybe they can be able to generate their income, and that I would like to know in the comments below whether you agree with everything that I've just said, and that I want to urge everyone to like, to subscribe, to leave a comment, click on the bell icon so that you'll receive a notification every time I post a new video. And that our major focus today was on football in Africa. I know that football in other leagues across the world is really developed, but our major focus is on Africa. We really need to help our local boys to play football as a career, to see football as a career, and that to to be able to be to be able to be financially, to be able to make money from playing football, just the same way the different players in the different leagues across the world make their money, and that this can only be done when we cooperate together, when we put our selfish interests aside. And this I'm talking to some of this I'm talking to the different governments. I know of one stadium that they only lay the foundation, and that it has been lying idle for so many years, and that I think this is just a selfish move from the government, and that they should really consider investing in this sector, and that when we have when we have good facilities in our country, then we have a high chance of hosting big tournaments. And I know most of you, and I know that everyone remembers the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. South Africa is the first African country to ever host the World Cup, and they were only able to do this because they have the right facilities in their countries, and this enabled them to get that right to host the World Cup in their country. Now, I'd like to everyone to maybe leave a comment. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on this video, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you.